there, it's Taylor. Welcome back if you've done the gentle. If you haven't, you can check that out. It's more for recovery and beginners. This is going to be a little bit more of getting up, getting down. So just keep that in mind as we go through here. As always with yoga, go at your own pace. Use your own breath. You don't have to be perfectly in sync with me. And then if we're having any sort of injuries or anything, I'll be sure to touch on those, but they're always going to be rest options, those foundational poses, mountain, downward dog, child's pose, so we can always come back to those. So let's go ahead and get started today. We're going to start lying on our back, so take your time getting down. And just finding a nice, comfortable position to rest on our back here. Legs can be straight out, or if that doesn't really jive for your back, you can always slide something underneath those knees. Or my personal favorite is to bring the feet together. Just go ahead and either hands on the stomach or down at your side, whatever feels good today. We're just going to begin by taking some nice breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the belly. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Continuing to breathe at your own pace here. Just start taking note of the rising of the fall, of the belly, of the chest. Perhaps you feel the weight in your back each time you exhale. Alright, today I'm going to begin with a little sensation exercise here. It might feel a little strange or uncomfortable, but it's a really good way to get comfortable being in the present. Let's start off with a really easy one. Since we are breathing through our nose, just notice any smells you may be picking up. Perhaps it's the laundry detergent off your shirt, or the air feels clean or crisp, depending on what you're doing. Just taking note of those smells. Next, focus on what you can hear. Most likely your eyes are closed, so perhaps you pick up air conditioning, breeze blowing, maybe something else going on in the background. Sounds a little strange, but bring your focus to what you can taste. Maybe it's the coffee on your breath, or you just recently brushed your teeth. Just tune in with that sensation of taste. And lastly, since our eyes are closed, we focus on what we can feel. So perhaps at first we just notice the points of contact of our body on the floor, and the sides of my feet, hips, lower back, my upper back, shoulder blades, head, my elbows, my arms. Notice the feeling of clothing on your skin. If you have any sort of elastic on your waistband, on your socks around your ankles. Perhaps you're just simply noticing contact with your shirt, pressing against your skin. And then just gently return the focus back to the breath here. Opening your eyes gently. We're going to start getting warmed up here. So bringing the feet up, placing the soles of them on the ground wherever we're at. Planting our hands at our side. We're going to start with a really simple glute bridge. Beginning at the tailbone, opening all the way up as we press the hips towards the sky until the shoulder blades are off the ground here. So pressing through those feet and our palms. As we inhale, the tailbone comes up first. Pressing those hips up towards the sky, squeezing the glutes. And then exhaling, forward. One vertebra at a time. Inhaling, we come up. Squeezing, hamstrings, glutes, low back all turned on. Exhaling, with control all the way back down. Arms and feet planted on your own pace here. And last time. Squeeze. Exhale, one vertebra at a time. Good. The core just a bit here. Arms sweep up and overhead, just the base of the neck. We're just going to do some baby abdominal crunches, keeping those elbows back. Forehead comes up first with the chin. In one smooth motion, we stay neutral. We just come up so our shoulder blades are touching. Feet nice and planted, big toe pressing down as we inhale. Forehead up first, elbows back, just to the shoulder blades. Exhaling, we lower back. Inhaling, we come up. Exhaling, lower back down. On your own breath here. You should stay up, head in neutral, elbows back. One last time. Good. We're going to roll onto one side here, pressing ourselves up nice and gentle, coming to all fours. Fingers nice and wide, palms planted underneath those shoulders, knees stacked underneath the hips, head nice and neutral. We're going to inhale, moving into a cow position. So basically our chest drops, we begin to arch the back, and the head dips backwards. Exhaling, pressing through the palms, back begins to round. Pressing that back towards the sky here, finding a stretch. Moving through our cat-cow now, getting some nice movement through the spine here. Inhaling as we arch. Exhaling, pressing through our feet and our hands as our foundation. On this exhale, the head should be the very last thing that falls to the ground as we're stretching out our spine here. This time just press back into a child's pose here, stretching those shoulders out. Inhaling, coming back up, and this time we tuck the toes. We're going to find the alternate of a child's pose, which is a downward facing dog. This doesn't drive for your body anytime we say down dog, we can always come back into a child's pose. But if you're good with it, tuck those toes, press the hips up towards the sky. Now in a downward facing dog, have a slight bend in the knee here. We really want to make sure we're pressing through our foundation, pressing those shoulders out. That soft bend in the knee can kind of keep any extreme feeling in those hamstrings here. Really trying to press our chest towards the ground. And this is one of our foundational poses here. So inhaling, we're just going to walk our feet to the top of the mat as we stand up to do our standing warm-up here. Inhaling, arms come out to a reverse swan dive. And we just drop those hands down. So moving into our standing warm-up piece, what we're going to do here is just bring the toes out just outside of our hips and slightly turned out towards those corners of the mat. Palms come overhead. This position is called a 5-point star. So fingertips are really stretched out. Even from this space, we should be reaching towards the sky. Glutes are squeezed, core is active. So as we inhale here, we're going to drop those elbows down. Bring the shoulder blades together and really try to lower into a squat position. Exhaling, press back up. Inhaling, we lower down, peeling the shoulder blades back in together. Maybe a little bit deeper into the squat now. Exhaling up. Really just starting to warm up our glutes, warm up those meaty muscles of the leg here. Warm up the back body a bit and the shoulders. A couple more times on our own breath here. Goal to get a little bit deeper each time we go. Inhaling one last time here. Then exhaling. Press up to the sky. So again, let's find the top of our mat. We're going to move through just a little chair flow. Keep these hamstrings nice and warmed up. It'll be part of our sun salutations, which we'll get to later. So as we inhale, we reach out and up. Exhaling, we're just going to swan dive to a forward fold position. Nice flat back. Inhaling, we come back up. Hands come to prayer and we sink into a chair pose. Inhaling, we come up. Exhaling, we swan dive, forward fold, nice soft bend in the knee. Inhaling back up to the top. Arms come together, exhaling, we sink into a chair pose. So this is a combination of swan diving to warm up the hamstrings, chair pose to get those quads and those glutes ready to go. One last time here. And we'll come up. All right, so should be a little warmed up. Quads, hamstrings should all feel good. Core is nice and ready to go. Upper body ready. So we are going to get into our mountain pose here. So in mountain pose, hips are stacked over top of the ankles, shoulders stacked over top of the hips. Shoulders relaxed down and back, palms forward. Should be a straight line from the head all the way down to my toes. Nice strong foundation, pressing through. This would be the equivalent of laying on our back in the standing position here. So always a position we can come back to at any point we need to take a rest here. So we're going to move through the sun salutations we talked about earlier. So that's one breath, one movement. And in the gentle version, if you go back, you can see a lot of it is from our knees. This will be the full version of that series. Finding that mountain pose, taking a breath. I'll go slow this first time. Inhaling, we reach out and up. Exhaling, we swan dive, arms out to the side to a forward fold. Starting to bend the knees, we plant the hands. Inhaling, we step back with the right foot, finding the left lunge. Exhaling, we step back with the right foot, the left foot. Press back into downward facing dog. Inhaling, we rock forward. Exhaling, we're going to lower halfway. Flipping the toes, we inhale, we press upward facing dog, letting the hips relax. Exhaling, we drop that chest, tuck the toes, press up and back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, right toes come forward to that right lunge. Exhaling, left toes step up to the right. Inhaling, reverse swan dive to the top of the mat. Hands come, just like we've already done to prayer, sinking into a chair pose here. A little bit faster this time, inhaling up. Exhaling, swan dive, forward fold. Lifting the hands, inhaling, step back with the right foot. Exhaling, left toes come back, we press back into that downward facing dog. Inhaling, we rock forward into a high plank. Exhaling, we lower back down. Flipping those toes, peeling the shoulder blades back, we press upward facing dog. Exhaling, we drop the chest, tuck the toes, press up and back into downward facing dog. Inhaling, right toes come forward. Left toes step up to the right. Inhaling, reverse swan back to the top of the mat. Exhaling, we sink chair pose. Last time here. Inhaling, we rise. Exhaling, we fall. Inhaling, we plant those hands, stepping back. Exhaling, left toes go back, downward facing dog. Soft bend in the knee. Exhaling, roll forward, high plank. Flipping the toes, we press up and back. Exhaling, we drop the chest, tuck the toes, press up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhaling, right toes come forward. Exhaling, left toes step up to the right. Inhaling, reverse swan back to the top. And exhaling, let's enter prayer chair pose. Good. Now we rise. Alright, so we're going to move through our work phase now. We always have two options in our work phase. So hands can be up and overhead, or we can always put those hands on our hips, just making sure we keep our chest stacked as we do that, if we have a shoulder or something bothering us here. So I'm going to do the overhead arms option. Let's find our mountain pose once again. Just take a breath here. Push our heart rates up at least a little bit before we get started. Inhaling, we'll sweep the hands overhead, right toes come back. Hands overhead, thumbs pressing towards that back wall. Right toes towards that front right corner of the mat. And we're finding a warrior one here. Bending through that front knee. Really finding a stretch on the inside of this leg. You really want to try to square up the hips. So you should almost feel like your leg's trying to pull you back. You just want to try to keep those hips square here. Bending through that front leg. You adjust as you need if this is bothering your ankle, so it's not as straight. Just pressing towards that back wall, holding, connecting that breath. Good. The next time you exhale, you're going to open up, dropping your shoulders, warrior two. Front foot stays where it is, back toes, walk out a bit, facing the long side of the mat. Shoulders stacked over top of the hips, palms down to relax those shoulders down, bending through this front leg here. Should kind of feel like you're trying to press the mat apart with both of your feet, so make sure you keep active tension there. Inhaling, we're going to come up and straighten out that front leg, reaching forward slightly. As we exhale, that left palm comes to the inside of the left knee, and we bring our arms as though they're in a straight line here. Now this is a great time. If you have a yoga block, you can certainly use it to get down further, or you can simply rest your hand just below the knee. Just be sure it's not a lot of pressure to strain that knee more. But you should feel a nice activation here in your obliques as well as on the back of that front hamstring. Inhaling, we're going to begin to bend that front knee, and exhaling, you're We're going to cartwheel those hands down to that front left lunge here. Exhaling, we'll step back and press back into downward facing dog. We're just going to move through our little half series here. So inhaling, we rock forward. Exhaling, we lower halfway. Flipping the toes. Inhaling, we press up, upward facing dog. Exhaling, we drop the chest up the toes, press up and back, downward facing dog. Inhaling, we can walk or jump to the top of our mats. Exhaling, we forward fold. This time as we inhale, we'll just reverse swan dive up to our mountain pose to reset. We can move into the opposite side here. If you need an extra breath or two before you get started, please take it. Remember, you don't have to be perfectly in sync with me the whole time. Alright, let's move on to that right side. So inhaling, left toes sweep back this time. Left toes towards that front left corner of the mat. Square my hips, hands overhead, pressing backwards. Continuing to breathe. Make sure the shoulders are stacked over top of our hips here. Good. The next time we exhale, we drop the shoulders. We open up the back toe towards the long side of the mat. Again, pressing that mat apart. Nice bend through the front knee here. Shoulders relaxed. Probably feeling it a little bit in your quad. Should get worse in a few seconds. Making sure those shoulders are squared over top of their hips, keeping active tension in those toes here. Last breath here. Inhaling, we straighten out that front leg, reaching forward. Exhaling, palm comes to the inside of the knee. Should be a straight line or relatively from palm to palm. Again, if we need to take a beat onto our leg here, just to give us a break, or this is maybe a little too challenging, you can always grab onto a yoga block or some other hard object as well. Chest nice and open. Nice pulling here through that left oblique. Good. Inhaling, we'll begin to turn and bend that front knee as we exhale to a front lunge position. Next time we exhale, we're going to step back and press into our downward facing dog. Inhaling, we'll rock forward into high plank. Exhaling, we'll lower halfway. Flip the toes and press up. Upward facing dog. Exhaling, we drop that chest up the toes and we press up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhaling, we'll hop or walk to the top of the mat here. Exhaling to a forward fold. Inhaling, reverse swan dive up using those hamstrings. And exhaling, we'll reset in our mountain pose. Taking a breath or two while we move to our last portion of the pull down. I'm going to face you guys so you can see this a little bit better. But we're going to move into a balance phase. And really challenging the muscles on the bottom of the foot there helps us balance, whether we're really bad at it now or as we get older. So we're just going to start in our mountain pose here. And this pose is called tree pose. So inhaling, we'll bring those palms together right at the center of our chest. Good. Shifting our weight on our next inhale into that left foot. Right toes come up and open up here. Now those toes can sit just above the ankle, or we can, if our balance isn't great, we can kind of practice tapping those toes down and coming back up if we're really struggling here. Okay, so toes just above that ankle bone. Hip pressing towards the back wall. Bottom of the foot should be pressing to that opposite leg here. This is a nice active this is pretty easy for you, there's kind of two options to make it a little bit more difficult. You can always bring your hands up and overhead, so gaze up, or you can bring that foot up just a little bit higher, maybe just above the knee, and keep those hands right where they are. Just be sure, keep that hip pressing towards the back wall. Good. Your hands are up. Let's go ahead, exhale them down. One last breath here. And then we'll exhale, toe lowers to the ground, and we close up the hip and step out. You can shake out that ankle, roll it for a second. This is a good time to notice if our balance is better in one foot than the other. So just notice as we shift into this right foot, just check in mentally, see how you're doing on that leg here. When you're finding mountain, it'll always be that position that we go back to here. Inhaling, palms come together. On that next inhale, we shift the weight to the right foot this time. Left toes come up and open up here. And again, if you want to go straight up above the knee this time, it's perfectly fine. Just be sure hip pressing back, foot pressing in here. So this ankle is definitely a little bit more wobbly for me, so I'll bring the foot up, but I'm keeping my hands down this time, really, so I can just focus all those little muscles that are trying to keep me upright right now. Good. If you did bring your hands overhead, let's bring them back down on that exhale. And then the next time you exhale, we'll just drop the hands, toes slowly comes down as we close up that hip and step out. Good. I'm sure you feel that a little bit in your calf, so feel free to take an extra second or two here to roll these out. But we're going to start to cool it down. So let's go ahead to the top of the mat here. Finding that mountain pose, just for a breath. Just breathe out, not bringing the arms up and overhead. Finding forward fold poses this time. We're just going to allow ourselves to really hang in it. You can swing side to side by gently clasping the elbows. You feel good, or if you want, you can straighten one leg and bend the other, getting a little bit more into that hamstring here. Good. The next one we exhale, we're just going to squat down, walking your hands back behind us. We're going to do just a little bit of core work before we stretch it out here. So, palms are going to come out next to the knees here, and as we inhale, we're just going to shift back, toes coming up off the ground, parallel, knees together, feet together. Palms can be up, we're facing those knees here. We really just want to be in a V shape here, turning on the abdomen, leaning back a little bit, head nice and neutral, just holding this for a few breaths. Exhaling, toes are going to come down. We'll sit up nice and tall. We are going to bring it down onto our back. So let's go ahead and just lower down nice and slow here. Rolling gently onto one side. We're going to find our stomachs here. We're going to bring our left arm up and overhead, right in front of us here. Left hand comes back, and we're just going to grab on to that right foot for a quad stretch here. So we can stay right here and just enjoy that quad stretch, keeping head neutral if that's enough for you. Or if you'd like a little bit more, you can kind of use that hand to pull up on the ankle and pull the back up. you'll start to feel that stretch through the bicep here. So whatever feels good, if you want to keep that quad stretch, or if you want to get bicep stretch a little bit more through your back, you can create some tension here. Feel free to do that. This is a half bow pose here. The next time you exhale, just release that tension in that hand. Allow that foot to drop down. We'll sweep the opposite arm up and overhead, and go ahead and flip to the opposite side here. Inhaling, pulling out, finding your tension wherever it is, getting that nice stretch in. Just allowing yourself to hold it wherever you're at here. We'll have this tendency to want to tip our head back to try to get more into the stretch. Just make sure you keep your head pretty neutral, really only ever looking just past the mat here. And on this exhale, we'll release that hand and let the toe fall to the ground here. Good. We'll sweep those hands underneath us and we'll press up. And we'll do a little maneuver here where we just sweep the feet under. We still want to get into some nice good stretching positions here, so let's go ahead and open up into a butterfly. Again, you can take a narrow or a wide butterfly here. Personally prefer wide, feels better on my hips. Palms up and open. This is to keep us from wanting to jam those knees into the ground. We'll let gravity do the work here. So sitting up nice and tall. And as we exhale, just allow the elbows to be pressed down by gravity as we find a stretch through our hips here. Remembering to breathe, using that exhale to get a little bit deeper into the stretch. Last breath here. And the next time we exhale, we'll gently walk ourselves up. Now let this come out. Once again, find our way onto our backs. Always using our core as much as possible here as we lower down. We're going to do a spinal twist here this time. We're going to inhale, pulling our right knee into our chest. And as we exhale, we're going to let that right knee fall to the left side here. It's okay if your hip opens up a bit. Left palm just on top of that knee. Right arm can come open. If that's too much for you, feel free to get nice and protected here. I'm going to open up my arm. And each time I exhale, I'm just allowing myself to be pulled through the middle of my back here. I personally know this side is tighter. So in my cases, I prefer to start with it. And just breathing, allowing gravity to press down. On that inhale, we'll use our core to pull us back to the side. Sending that leg out. Just shift your hips so they feel like they're re-centered underneath you, and we'll do that same thing on the other side here. Inhaling, pulling that knee into the chest. Exhaling, knee falls out and over. Right palm on top of the outside of the left quad this time. We open up our arm. Use that exhale. Stretching shouldn't feel straining, but it should feel a little bit challenging, a little bit of discomfort, but not to the point of pain. this is a good time point to see if you noticed if the other side of your back is tighter, or perhaps it's this one that is. Good. Inhaling, we'll pull back to center. This time we're just going to bring both knees into our chest, finding a nice lower back stretch here just for a breath. We're going to reach, grabbing on. Maybe it's just to our big toes. Maybe that's all we can do. Or you can grab onto the outside of your feet, finding a nice happy baby stretch here. So hips should be open again. Toes are all you can get. That's totally fine. Should be a nice stretch on the hamstring and the inside of the legs here. You can find some movement, maybe just gently rocking side to side. If this just isn't working for you, you can always go back to that knees to chest position and get that stretch on the low back there too. One last breath here. We're going to bring those feet back together, knees to chest, and on that exhale, just extending them out, either with the cord, you can gently walk them out. We're going to find our final relaxation position here. Again, feet can be out, something under our knees, bringing those feet together. Bringing the focus just gently to the breath here. Noticing the sensation of the rising and falling. Noticing the chest becoming heavy against the mat. We're going to finish today with just a deep breathing exercise here. So if you did the gentle session, we did a practice where I had you all count up to 5, and then each time you got distracted, something pulled your attention, you just returned back to that. This time, we're going to bring it up just a little bit more. So we're going to count up to 10. This time with the inhale being the focus. And each time you notice your mind wander, get distracted by a sound, I just want you to start over at that 1. Keeping something nice, easy to focus on. Just slowly trying to count up to 10. This is a really great practice just for day-to-day life, as we are often distracted by the buzz of our phone, perhaps a lot of noise outside, the airport, outside the wellness center usually does it for me. I'm just able to come back and just count 1, 2. So I want to give you a few moments here to just practice that out. spend a few minutes after this really just working on that breathing. But I'll leave it here with you today as I say namaste.